47 seconds ago, Jamie Raskin walked into room 216 of the Senate Intelligence Committee with a file so thick the security scanner beeped twice. The guards exchanged glances. One whispered something to his colleague. Raskin just smiled, tapped the reinforced folder, and said 5 words that would reverberate through every news network within the hour. This ends today. Everything. Kash Patel sat at the witness table, stone-faced as always, that practiced mask of bureaucratic calm he wears so well. Pam Bondi sat 3 seats to his right, surrounded by a wall of attorneys in dark suits. But when Raskin entered with those files, something flickered across both their faces. Just for a second. The cameras caught it. Everyone caught it. The room was already packed when Raskin arrived. Every seat taken. Journalists standing against the back wall, cameras positioned at every conceivable angle, but nobody expected what came next. Raskin didn't come alone. 3 assistants followed him, each carrying identical black cases. They set them on the table in front of Raskin's seat with synchronized precision. Click, click, click. 3 cases opening simultaneously. Inside each one, stacks of documents, red tabs, yellow tabs, green tabs. A filing system so meticulously organized it looked like it had been prepared for months. Because it had been. Patel watched this theater unfold. His lawyers watched, and the micro-expressions on their faces told the whole story to anyone trained to read body language. This wasn't the standard congressional hearing they'd prepared for. This was something else entirely. The first 20 minutes proceeded normally enough. Other senators asked their questions about counterterrorism budgets and cyber threat assessments. Patel handled them with his usual efficiency, short answers, minimal details, running out the clock. He checked his watch twice, almost looked bored. Then Raskin took the microphone. The room shifted. There's no other way to describe it. The energy changed completely. People sat up straighter, cameras refocused with mechanical precision. Even the stenographer looked up from her keyboard. Raskin opened the first file with deliberate slowness. He didn't say anything at first. Just let the silence build. Let everyone in that chamber understand that what came next would be different from every hearing that preceded it. When he finally spoke, his voice carried that particular tone that veteran prosecutors develop after decades of courtroom work. Calm, measured, absolutely lethal. He wanted to discuss a package delivered to his office 36 hours earlier. A USB drive containing 2,300 pages of internal correspondence spanning from June 2019 to February 2025. 6 years of emails, memos, directives, and reports, all from inside federal agencies, all documenting what Raskin characterized as a systematic cover-up of the Epstein investigation. The temperature in the room dropped perceptibly. Patel leaned forward slightly, his first visible reaction. He attempted to categorically reject any characterization before Raskin even finished his sentence. But Raskin wasn't asking for Patel's opinion. He was stating documented facts. Document 1, dated June 14, 2019. Internal correspondence from a field office to headquarters. Subject line, Epstein investigation, high-profile targets. Raskin held it up so the cameras could capture the official letterhead, the classification stamps, the authenticity markers. The document reported that investigators had identified 34 individuals connected to Jeffrey Epstein's operation. Witness testimony, flight records, photographic evidence, a formal request to open investigations into all 34 names. The response came 3 days later from headquarters. 4 words, not advisable at this time. Recommendation to hold pending further review. 34 names, evidence in hand. Headquarters said, wait. That was 2019, 6 years ago. One of Patel's attorneys, a woman in her 40s with sharp eyes and sharper instincts, leaned over and whispered urgently. Patel shook his head slightly. No, he would handle this himself. That decision would prove catastrophic within the next 8 minutes. Raskin pulled out document 2, August 10, 2019, 1 week after Jeffrey Epstein's death. An internal memo from senior officials to all field offices. Subject: Epstein matter, case closure. The directive was explicit. Effective immediately, the Epstein case was considered closed. All subsidiary investigations were to be suspended. All evidence was to be transferred to headquarters for what the memo termed archival purposes. Archival purposes, federal code for bury it and forget it exists. A murmur rippled through the press gallery. Journalists were typing furiously. Committee members exchanged loaded glances. Patel's jaw tightened, barely perceptible, but visible to anyone watching closely enough. But Raskin wasn't finished, not even close. 6 months later, January 2020, before Ghislaine Maxwell was arrested, an analyst sent an email to their supervisor. The email was brief and devastating. They had compiled sufficient evidence to move forward with Maxwell. The question was direct: why are we delaying? The supervisor's response: political sensitivities. Waiting for clearance. Political sensitivities, not evidentiary concerns, not legal complications. Politics. Raskin let that sink in before continuing. Whose politics? Who exactly was sensitive about arresting a woman who trafficked children? Silence. Complete, heavy, suffocating silence. The next document came from March 2021, after Maxwell's conviction. A field agent submitted a detailed report. Maxwell had provided names during her cooperation. 47 individuals involved in the operation. The agent's recommendation was clear and urgent: immediate investigation. Handwritten in the margin, someone had scrawled, "Not approved. High-level decision." High-level decision. Someone at the very top of federal law enforcement, possibly higher, decided that 47 names connected to child trafficking weren't worth investigating. Raskin paused here. Let the weight of that statement settle over the room like a physical presence. 47 names, 47 people. And someone decided they were untouchable. Then came the document with the red cover sheet. Top secret stamped across it in bold letters. Declassified 72 hours earlier by federal judge order. Dated February 3, 2025, 2 weeks after Patel assumed his current position. The memorandum originated from high-level offices and went to all field divisions. Subject: Epstein-related investigations, new operational directives. The directive was comprehensive and unambiguous. All active case files related to the Epstein investigation were to be transferred to central headquarters immediately. No field office was authorized to initiate or continue investigative activities without explicit approval from the director's office. All scheduled witness interviews suspended. All pending document requests denied pending review. At the bottom of the page, clearly visible when Raskin held it up, Patel's signature. The room exploded, not metaphorically, literally erupted, shouting from the gallery. Journalists jumping to their feet, camera operators scrambling for better angles. The committee chairman banging his gavel with such force it echoed like gunshots. Patel sat frozen. His face had drained of color, gone absolutely white, as if every drop of blood had evacuated his body in the span of 3 seconds. His lead lawyer, a gray-haired man in his 60s, stood so quickly his chair scraped loudly against the floor. He attempted to object, but Raskin's voice cut through the chaos like a blade. The counselor could sit. Patel could answer for himself. But Patel didn't answer. He sat there, staring at his own signature blown up 10 feet tall on the screen behind Raskin's head. Raskin asked directly, almost gently now, if Patel recognized the document, recognized his own signature. Silence. Just the sound of camera shutters clicking and someone's phone buzzing insistently in the press gallery. The lawyer tried again. His client needed time to review the documents before commenting, time to consult, time to prepare a response. Raskin stood. Senators rarely stand during hearings. Standing means you're not just asking questions anymore. You're making a statement. You're drawing a line. This document shut down the Epstein investigation, Raskin stated. It stopped witness interviews, blocked document releases, killed every active lead federal investigators had developed. and Patel signed it the same day he met with White House officials. The same day. What happened in that meeting? What was discussed? What was Patel instructed to do? Patel finally spoke. His voice came out quiet, strained, barely recognizable from the confident bureaucrat who'd testified just 30 minutes earlier. But before he could finish his sentence, Raskin pulled out another document. This one detailed what happened after Patel signed that directive. Investigative activity on Epstein-related cases dropped 94%. Witness interviews, 0. Document analysis, 0. Field investigations, 0. Patel didn't slow down the investigation. He killed it. Deliberately, systematically, completely. Then came the document that changed everything, an internal list created in 2021, updated in 2025 during Patel's tenure. The title was bureaucratically bland and absolutely damning. Individuals excluded from Epstein-related investigative activities. 47 names. Next to each name, a code explaining why they were protected. Code A, political sensitivity, 12 names. Code B, diplomatic relations, 8 names. Code C, national security concerns, 15 names. Code D, executive branch protection, 12 names. Raskin held the list up so every camera in the room could capture it. Executive branch protection. The White House was protecting 12 people connected to Jeffrey Epstein from federal investigation. He asked the question directly, without embellishment. Was this national security, or was this a cover-up? Patel's lead attorney stood for the third time. His voice carried the tone of a man who knew his client was finished. His client was invoking his Fifth Amendment right. He would not answer this question or any subsequent questions regarding these matters. The room erupted again. The Fifth Amendment. The official responsible for federal law enforcement oversight was taking the fifth. Raskin just nodded slowly, like he'd anticipated this exact response, like he'd counted on it. The Fifth Amendment, he repeated. The right not to incriminate oneself. He walked back to his table, gathered his documents with methodical precision. The official responsible for this investigation believes that answering questions about the Epstein case would incriminate him. He looked directly at the cameras positioned throughout the room. These documents would be released to the public the following morning. All 2,300 pages. Every email, every directive, every protected name. The truth was coming out whether Patel cooperated or not. Bondi sat 3 seats away, surrounded by her legal team, absolutely motionless. She hadn't said a single word throughout the entire confrontation. Didn't need to. Her silence spoke volumes. The hearing technically continued for another 20 minutes. Other senators asked other questions, but nobody was listening anymore. Nobody cared. Because Jamie Raskin had just done what nobody else had been willing to do. He'd named the cover-up. He'd shown the documents. He'd trapped Patel into taking the fifth. And he'd put Bondi on notice that her involvement, whatever it was now part of the public record. Within minutes, the footage went viral. Raskin 47 trended worldwide. Cable news networks interrupted regular programming. Legal experts debated whether Patel had just committed career suicide or something worse. And somewhere in 47 different locations, 47 very powerful people were making very panicked phone calls. This wasn't speculation anymore. This wasn't conspiracy theory. This was documented fact, entered into the congressional record, backed by 2,300 pages of evidence that would be public within hours. Kash Patel, who promised transparency, invoked the fifth rather than explain why he killed investigations into 47 people connected to Jeffrey Epstein. Pam Bondi, who sat silent throughout, was now permanently linked to the biggest cover-up in modern federal law enforcement history. And Jamie Raskin, who walked in with 3 cases and 2,300 pages, had just blown the whole thing wide open. The hearing ended, technically. But everyone in that room knew this was just the beginning.